What's up to all you tape heads out there? Welcome back to It Came from Beyond the Videostore Shelves, the video podcast where I comb through my massive collection of VHS tapes in search of movies that I've never seen before. And I'm going to put my eyeballs on them, and then we're going to come here and talk a little bit about them. And in today's episode, we're going all the way back to 1987, when murder comes to the small rural town of Medley, Georgia, in Shallow Grave. So, the first thing I kind of want to talk about Shallow Grave is just how much I really dig this cover art here, which of course you really don't get the full effect on my particular copy because it's sun faded to ass, from sitting in the window of fucking Ma and Paul's video store for 100 years. But I mean, this is just some fucking great cover work. I mean, walking through the video store and just seeing this on the shelf, it screams rent me. You're gonna have to take this home. It's just great looking art on there, man. Whoever was in charge of doing the cover for this flick really should get a big ass raise, man. That they hit it out of the park. It's definitely, something that's enticing. It reaches out and grabs you. You're looking at, a woman laying there in her shallow grave, stumped in the ground there with you got a Medley, Georgia sign here. Just great cover art, man. Years ago, I did have a big box copy of this. I'm not sure what ended up happening to it, but I had a big box copy of Shallow Grave that I forgot if I picked that up from like some kind of local deal, or if, I found that through a trade online or whatever. But when I went to watch it, the tape was no good. So, I ended up keeping it for a while because, just for the cover art alone, it looked great on the shelf. But I couldn't watch it. So, I came across just the slip version. This is a Prism release. It's something that I've been interested in watching for quite some time. So, when I ran across this, I figured, it'd be the perfect time to pick this up and just finally be able to check out what this movie's about. So, getting into Shallow Grave, basically what this movie's about is four, girls. I don't remember if they were, I believe they're in high school. I don't think that it was college. Yeah, I don't think they said it was, if it was a college or high school yet, but I believe it was a high school. They were attending this Christian academy, and they decide that for their summer vacation, they're gonna go down to Fort Lauderdale, Florida. And first off, let's get to how the movie opens. So the movie opens to this prank that they pull on a classmate that pays homage to Psycho. They basically recreate the shower scene in Psycho with hair dye, which I thought was pretty cool, just to be able to, see that reenacted at the beginning of the film before everything goes down. So they get in trouble with that, and then they decide, we're going to go take this vacation. But unfortunately, for these four young females, on the way to Fort Lauderdale, Florida, they catch a flat. So they're in the middle of nowhere, stranded on the side of the road. And, of course, one of these ladies decides that she's going to take the spare tire out of the trunk of this convertible they're driving around in, to make room for more luggage. So they're stuck there on the side of the road. They do not have a spare. So they're kind of fucked. Anyway, that's when, shit kind of turns from bad to worse for these ladies. So one, I guess you would call her the leader of the group, decides that she's going to walk, to a gas station that they passed a while back, and she's going to go and try to get some help, leaving 3 of her friends there alone. And one of these 3 friends decides that she really needs to take a big ass piss. So she decides that, I'm going to go into the woods and, squat by a tree and take her a leak. But unfortunately, after she gets her, all of her business finishes, she happens to come across a couple having sex in the woods. And instead of minding her own business, she decides that she's going to watch these 2 naked bodies slapping together in the middle of nowhere. So she comes across this man and this woman getting down. She squats in some bushes and kind of watches them for a little while. Unfortunately for her, what she stumbles across is a love affair. And, these 2 people, they start arguing. It goes bad. This woman's fed up with this particular, gigolo she's fooling around with. He keeps promising that he's going to leave his wife and he's going to, marry this side piece. But so, they're arguing, and she decides that, what, I'm tired of this bullshit. You're never going to leave your wife. I'm going to tell her. So she starts going on about how I'm going to tell your wife that we've been fucking for 2 years and all this shit, and we bang in the woods all the time. And in a fit of rage, this guy ends up attacking this woman and strangles her, not knowing that you have this, college student sitting in the bushes watching this. So he strangles this woman, sticks her in the car. Of course, this girl freaks out and she runs away. So she's kind of, running through the woods, not really sure where she's going. And meanwhile, back at the vehicle, her 2 friends begin to worry that, she's taking a long time. It shouldn't take that long just to take a piss in the woods. So they decide, okay, we're going to go and we're going to try to find her, make sure she's okay, make sure she didn't hurt herself, make sure she's not lost. So the 2 remaining women, venture out into the woods, and they come across this gentleman while he's digging the grave for this woman that he just strangled, for his mistress. And that's when, stuff gets really bad. They, one of the students, Rose, seized the dead body of this woman in this man's Bronco sitting in the passenger seat. So she goes over to the window and begins to ask this corpse for a cigarette, while her friend is talking to this gentleman saying, hey, we broke down, I have a flat, we don't have a spare, can you help us? And, right about this time, Rose realizes that this woman sitting in this Bronco is not alive. She's dead. And, this guy realizes that he's been busted. He's got caught. He's fucked. So he pulls out his pistol and kills Rose. He shoots her twice, once in the arm and one fucking great headshot, man. That it wasn't super gory, but it was done really well. So he kills the one girl, and her friend flees. So he's chasing this girl through the woods. And right about this time, the one woman is finally getting back from this gas station from trying to get help. Unfortunately, it's hunting season. So when she arrives at this gas station, no one's there. There's a sign on the door saying closed for hunting. So she decides, you know what, fuck it, I'm just going to go back to the car and we're going to wait for someone to pass. So this time she's making her way back to the vehicle. And the original friend who witnessed this murder, who was trying to take a piss in the woods, has finally made it back to the vehicle. And they come upon each other. So she goes and she tells her friend, what she saw. I saw this guy strangle this woman in the woods. I don't know where our other two friends are. When I got back to the car, they were gone. So, we need to find help. So they take the keys from the vehicle and they decide that they're going to walk to town and try to find help. And then they're going to come back and get their two friends. So, they don't go looking for these other women or anything. They're just like, fuck these two bitches. We're going to get out of here and, try to get back on the road. We're trying to be on the beach. It's fucking summer break. Let's get out of here. So they continue to turn around, go back down the street. They're going to go back to this gas station and try to figure something out. Once they get a couple blocks down the street, their last surviving friend, finally makes her way to the car. She gets out of the woods. She could see her friends in the distance walking away. But instead of trying to run after and meet her friends, she just kind of panics and she hangs out at the car for a little while, long enough for this gentleman to get behind her and strangle her to death as well. So, at this point, this guy has already killed 3 women. He has no clue that there were 4 girls in this car at this point. So then it cuts to the last 2 surviving women. They're going to this gas station. They finally get there. They need a phone. They need a call for help. And there's still nobody there. Everybody's hunting. No one's around. And they get this bright idea that, there's a phone inside of this convenience store. We're going to just break the window and try to, get this phone and get to some help. So they break the window. She tries to reach in and unlock the door, and she's attacked by this grocery store's fucking super vicious pet dog. Their fucking coon-ass alarm system, And they finally get away from this dog and shit that's chewing on this woman's hand from inside the building. When the deputy shows up to arrest these women for breaking and entering. So they're trying to explain to this deputy what happened. We witnessed a murder. We had this flat. We broke down and all this kind of crap. Of course, he doesn't believe them and throws them all in jail. They're going to wait until the sheriff shows up and they could kind of sort through everything. But the problem is the sheriff is the horn dog they saw in the woods killing all these women. So, they're stuck there, imprisoned by the murderer, basically. So, all kind of stuff goes on. They're trying to convince this deputy who was a nice guy, but clueless of what's going on, that, it's your boss. If he killed these people, we're in danger. He's going to kill us. Of course, the deputy doesn't believe it. I knew this guy for a long time. He wouldn't do that. And these 2 women, finally escape. They're able to get away from the sheriff. They're back on the, in the wild. The manhunt ramps up again. They're looking for these 2 women. And they're able to come across, one of them. They're able to capture one of these girls and put her back in jail while the other one's still kind of running around. And, at this point, the deputy kind of learns that, this woman that the sheriff was having this affair with is missing. He doesn't know about the affair. It's a barmaid that he kind of has a crush on. So he's looking around for this girl. And, the whole time, the sheriff's fucking backtracking and covering all his bases and trying his damnedest not to get caught. He's covering everything up. He's trying to be smart about it. And that's when the body of these 3 women pop up. These guys and their dog is out hunting. They stumble across the grave. They unmask these 3 bodies. And that's when, the sheriff not only knows that he's pretty much been caught, but that's when the deputy finds out that, his crush is dead, along with these 2 other women, So the sheriff, he decides that we're going to kind of put all these murders on these 2 women, because no one was talking about murder or nothing until they showed up talking about, oh, someone's dead, we saw it, and this and that. So he puts the murder on these 2 ladies. They did it. We need to get them. And you still have one running in the wild. They recapture one. So he sends his deputy, go out and find this, this last victim out there for me. Go find this other girl, and I'm going to bring her friend back and lock her in the jail cell. And, he goes about murdering this one woman that they have in captivity. He strangles her and makes it look like she hung herself with her bra. And they finally catch up to this last woman who gets shot in the leg by some vigilante hunters. And, they're sending her to the hospital. But the sheriff knows that he needs to cover all of his bases. So he decides that I'm going to ride to the hospital, with this woman. And we're going to see if she's going to confess, We're going to get to the bottom of this. And this is kind of the only part of the movie that, I don't want to say that was shitty, but, it ends on this cliffhanger. And I kind of hate when movies do that, when they don't, give you closure to the whole situation. So the sheriff climbs into the back of this ambulance with this woman. And, at this point, the hunter that discovered the bodies, appears to the deputy, telling him, hey, when we found those bodies and you came to check them out, you dropped your badge. This was in the grave with these ladies. And the deputy's like, this isn't my badge. I don't have a badge like this. This is, the sheriff's badge. And at this moment, he realizes that these girls are telling the truth. That not only did the sheriff kill your love interest, but he also, is killing these girls that witnessed this murder go down. And you're kind of complacent in that. You're sitting back and you're letting this sheriff kill all these innocent girls, as well as this bartender. But the problem is that's where the movie ends. it ends on this note where the ambulance is driving away. You know, the sheriff's in the back with the last surviving witness who he's obviously going to kill. And now the deputy is all of a sudden aware of the situation. He's aware of what went down. And then, boom, credits. And it's like, man, I fucking, you know, when movies do that shit, when they kind of hook you into the story, but never finish it, man, it sucks. And I get it. I get why they do that. I know people like the cliffhanger, you know, but that shit just, I don't know, it kind of gets to me, man. That you're never able to see what the deputy does, how it unfolds. Can he stop the sheriff before he kills, you know, the last innocent girl that witnessed his acts and stuff? But, you know, I'm gonna tell you, Shallow Grave. I really enjoyed this. I wouldn't. This is more of like a thriller than it was a horror movie, but it was well done, man. It was kind of a slow burn. You know, the shit doesn't start going down till probably about halfway through the flick. Probably about 30 minutes in is when, you know, everything happens and they witness this murder. But once the wheels start rolling in this, it kind of goes, you know. He takes out the first two girls off the bat, man. You know, they don't even make it out. They don't even make it back to the road. And then you know, it kind of goes on from there. But it was a really well done thriller movie. You know, kind of sucks that they didn't wrap the story up at the end. That it kind of ends on this cliffhanger. But I could appreciate videos like that. I could appreciate those kind of movies. So this one came from, this particular tape has a rental label on it. This doesn't have a location, but it's Baxter's Pharmacy. It's a 914 area code, wherever that came from. But yeah, man, Shallow Grave. If you're into horror thrillers, if you kind of like these, you know, cop gone bad, murder mystery type flicks, I think you'd really enjoy this, man. It's a movie that's worth giving it a watch. Of course, I have it on VHS. I don't know that this is a super expensive movie to pick up, but if you don't want the VHS copy, it is streaming free on Tubi, so you can watch it that way if you want to. Definitely give it a watch, man. It's a good flick. It deserves you to put your eyeballs on it. I really enjoyed it. If I had to rate it, I would probably give this a 5. Yeah, I think it's a solid 5. It would have been a little higher in the ranking if it wasn't quite as slow, if it would have ramped up the speed just a little bit, and if they would have finished the story. Just, you know, the whole cliffhanger thing is not something that I'm super into. I know a lot of people enjoy it. You know, they like that those kind of endings on films that kind of leave you hanging in suspense. I'm not a fan of it. I like closure in the movies I watch, but it was really good, man. I enjoyed it. I'd probably watch this again every once in a while. Of course, it's one that's going to stay in the collection just for the cover art alone. I'd really like to upgrade this down the line, either come across another big box, because, man, that big box was fucking great. You could really appreciate the cover art in the big box. And the copy I had was in really good condition. Man, it kind of bugs me that I'm not sure what happened to that box. I need to do some digging through storage. I might have it put away somewhere, just because my tape wasn't good. But I would really like to maybe find that cover and be able to swap the tapes out and keep the big box instead of the slip version. But even just the slip version, man, I like to, try to upgrade this down the road and get a more vivid cover art. Because again, mine is super sun faded. The back looks really good, but the front and the sides are faded to crap. But anyway, thank you guys for hanging in there. Again, we were talking about A Shallow Grave from 1987. If you're watching this on YouTube, feel free to like the video, subscribe to the channel. If you want to follow us with the audio version of this podcast, you could find us on Spotify under It Came From Beyond the Videostore Shelves. We should be on iHeartRadio. We should be on Google Podcasts. Pretty much anywhere you're going to listen to your podcasts, you could find our show. Check it out. This is going to be episode 4. This is the second episode we did this week, just because I've been kind of in a movie watching mood. Starting this podcast has kind of, rejuvenized my need to watch stuff that I've never seen before. It's easy to kind of hang in there and keep watching fucking Night of the Creeps over and over instead of going through and checking out stuff you've never seen, But that's the whole point behind this show, is to get me to watch shit that's been sitting there collecting dust forever that I've never seen, and maybe find, some really cool, hidden gems amongst these piles of fucking tapes that I have. And you never know, man. My favorite movie could be sitting in the corner for fucking years. So anyway, thank you guys for hanging around. I appreciate all the support. Thank you guys for listening. And until next time, hang in there, and we'll be back with, shortly with another tape to talk about. So thank you guys. Take it easy.
School's out. You're on your way to a week of fun, and you stop for gas in a nice little town along the way.
Hey, where are you ladies headed for, anyway?
We're going to Fort Lauderdale.
It's a friendly town, but you don't want to get a flat tire here.
Shit!
Not here. Not in this town.
Wait.
Let's call that your first big mistake.
Please. You have to help us.
Kill her if she tries to escape again.
Welcome to Medley, Georgia, USA. A friendly place.
Range meeting is tonight at 7. Community drum auditions.
A quiet place.
Starting around 5.
Where people mind their own business. Maybe you should too.
Let's do it again. I haven't seen you in a while. There's no time.
Never is time.
No, you don't want to see anything you shouldn't. Not here. That would be your second big mistake.
This is bullshit. Sorry, but do you have a cigarette? So, you see, we kind of need a little help, and, well, we're kind of a little lost also. I mean, as far as trying to get back to the road.
But you're on vacation.
He's dead!
Well, you were on vacation. It's not your fault. You're innocent. Until captured. But you don't want to cross the law here. That could be a big mistake. You just might end up in a shallow grave. Don't try to run. Not from the law. He makes it. He can break it.
Murder, huh?
He was the one. Who was? The sheriff.
You just keep your mouth shut.
If he doesn't like you, it's bad.
Don't leave me in here alone.
Now how in the hell is he gonna kill you in the jailhouse? Take off your clothes.
If he does like you, it's worse. No, you don't want to go to jail here. That just may be your last big mistake.
Oh my God.
Greetings from Medley, Georgia, USA, where the most feared killer wears a badge. So don't get in his way, because there's only so many people you can fit in a shallow grave. One more thing. Whatever you do, when you're on vacation and a policeman stops you by the side of the road, don't make the same mistake they did, or you'll be in a shallow grave, too. Is there a problem, officer?